back to DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty, where on this channel, our vision is to empower the impoverished by helping you find financial freedom through crypto assets. If you like the mission, you resonate with the vision, and you find this content useful, please subscribe and leave a comment and a thumbs up. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back to DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. So going to be updating you guys on a lot of the developments. I glossed over them in the previous video because I just wanted to share the updates that came from the Telegram group, the announcements that Forex made, and the issue that was happening almost in real time with Splasive. So in this video, we're going to cover what the Chainlink VRF is and why that is bullish for the lottery and for the drip ecosystem as a whole. We'll be going over the updates from Forex. That's all these messages that you may or may not have read and kind of breaking them down so you can actually understand what they mean. And then we will dive into the actual lottery system and again, what that means for the system as a whole and how like this can be paid out and what that means for the users and winners, yada, yada, yada. Then we're going to be taking a look at the drip price and how it has actually bounced a couple times already off the chart. So we touched the 29s again, and then it already rebounded back up. So what does that say about the sustainability and the future of drip? And then we're going to be diving into some information on drip clones and what was revealed from Splasive regarding the exploit. So, all right, so first, diving in, VRF. What is VRF? So it is a verifiable random function, And what I'm gonna do is insert a video here for you guys to watch. It's literally 2 minutes. It gives a much easier to understand definition from Chainlink itself. So let's play that video.
Randomness is essential to many blockchain applications because it creates unpredictability, which enables exciting gameplay, truly rare NFTs, and unbiased outcomes. However, obtaining a source of unpredictable, auditable, and tamper-proof randomness on the blockchain is difficult. On-chain randomness solutions like block hashes are subject to block withholding attacks by miners and validators, and therefore cannot be trusted. On the other hand, off-chain randomness solutions are opaque, requiring a high degree of trust that the centralized data provider won't manipulate the results to their benefit. Fortunately, Chainlink Verifiable Random Function, or VRF, was created to provide smart contract developers with a source of cryptographically secure randomness, invulnerable against manipulation. With every new request, Chainlink VRF generates a random number and cryptographic proof of how that number was determined, using a combination of unpredictable block data and an oracle's private key. The cryptographic proof is published and verified on-chain before the randomness is delivered to the application. This process ensures that the results are provably fair, verifiable, and tamper-proof. Chainlink VRF unlocks a whole new set of blockchain and off-chain use cases across gaming, where verifiably random character distribution and player matchmaking makes gameplay more unpredictable and exciting, or NFTs, where tamper-proof seeding of specific collectible traits can be used to mint truly rare NFTs, and even fair selection and ordering, where the provably fair distribution of high-demand items like token airdrops or the verifiably random selection of lucky draw winners can ensure unbiased outcomes. And now, Chainlink VRF v2 puts even more control in your hands by giving developers a more scalable, configurable, and gas-efficient on-chain randomness for NFT and gaming dApps. Get a provably fair, verifiable, and tamper-proof source of randomness for any application. Start using Chainlink VRF v2 today.
All right, so hope that explained to you how that works and why that's important for the lottery system. As Forex mentioned in here, he was talking about how scratch tickets are extremely popular and useful. Typically, these models are run by the state. There is corruption, and who knows if it's actually truly random. And if you've ever been in a or purchased a scratch ticket, you don't know where they're generated from, how they're done, if there's anything behind the scenes to ensure that certain areas get these tickets and other ones get this one, or if even people are paid to say they won. Like, nobody knows. We want to, of course, say that they're fair, but we don't know. So that's what the blockchain is all about. The blockchain itself is all about removing trust So you don't have to have an entity that you trust. It creates a trustless environment because it's all verifiable, public, and on the blockchain itself. So the way this VRF actually works is that it creates a proof, algorithmic proof that gets only known via private key to the actual oracle, and then it creates a like a problem-solving algorithm that the other nodes can verify, and then it submits that information, and then when the actual matching number or whatever comes up, they can cross-reference that or go back. But there's no way to exploit that in the interim while that oracle is generating that number, because it's being done off-chain and decentralized, and it's only known randomly to that particular node or oracle in that case. So this will be extremely bullish for the drip ecosystem, because you're looking at, we already know, well, maybe you don't, but I know at least in the US, scratch tickets are really, really big. Every single gas station has them. There's tons of different ones. And it's essentially just free money, because the way these are set up is that the money gets put up. So let's just say I make 1,000 scratch offs, and I'm going to sell them for $1,000 or for $1 a piece. That means I'm going to get $1,000. I already know this up front. And then what I'm going to go ahead and say is that you can win up to $500. So I know I'm going to generate $1,000, and I'm only going to cut that revenue in half and tell you that you can have half of that. Well, where's the other half go? Well, the other half goes usually to the person who created it, to organizing it, to maintaining it, to maybe getting the tickets themselves, all that stuff, right? So it's literally just free money, because you don't have to pay for any overhead or anything like that in regards to like a product. The product is the ability to win. And if you make sure only $500 actually goes out, so out of the 1,000 tickets you sold, 5 will be for $10, so that's $50, and then 10 will be for, $100, something like that, right? That's actually a little more than 500, but you get the point. So that means you get free money. So what does this mean for drip? Is that, well, we already know that, what I believe, so he's saying in this, this may or may not change, we don't know, but let's just say this is correct, went up to $500,000. Well, what I think that actually means is you're going to win up to $500,000 in drip. So he's not going to actually give you 500,000 BUSD, so to speak, right? Because that would be kind of stupid. But what happens is, let's just say, for instance, he's giving you $500,000 worth of drip. Well, that would be, let's see, how many drip tokens at the current price? 34.79, right? So we take 500,000, and this is be up to, so this, let's just say one person won this, 34.79. They would get 14,371 drip tokens. Well, we already saw from the teams that won the 250 drip tokens, Ollie's DeFi, Crypto Kings, I forgot the other ones, Drip Tips maybe or something like that. They got the actual drip deposited directly into their deposits. It didn't go to their wallet, so they couldn't sell it. It came straight into here. That's super important, because that means it cannot be sold off immediately and dump the price of drip. So if, for instance, this 14,000 drip came in from this 500,000 up to, right? So we know this is the maximum payout, but let's just say one person got this one reward and therefore nobody else got anything else. Well, that means they would get the 14,371 drip. Well, that 14,371 drip would go straight into their deposits, and now they are getting per day 143 drip paid out. So that ensures, and that's also going to take them into like whale tier 2 or something like that, but that ensures the sustainability still of the drip protocol, because even if they start to sell, well, that's going to make their claim go up, and they will just sell out more quickly. But what are they probably going to do? They would just split that into wallets or airdrop it or do something else. Who knows, right? If you made that kind of money. But that just ensures that the protocol itself can sustain itself. So it's not going to be just giving out $500,000. And we don't know how often this will be available, when it will reset or whatever the case may be. But I believe that's what all these represent, is you're going to be getting paid out this amount in the actual token. So you're not going to get 6,900,000 BUSD. You would get the equivalent of that in dogs, and that's up to. So remember, there's going to be multiple winners, like Forex said in here. Let's see. We will provide the first open source, provably fair, randomized scratch ticket model. Just like centralized scratch tickets, it's not just one jackpot winner. There are multiple prizes you can win. So when this says up to 500,000, then there could be like a $5 drip. There could be one drip, or $34 worth of drip, $50 worth of drip. So this just adds a lot of people's ability to just kind of start throwing money at it, so to speak. And it's an easy way to onboard new people that are maybe not familiar with it. It's just like, hey, spend $5 and get yourself a drip scratch off ticket, right? It's kind of easy to sell that to someone than it is to convince them about the whole drip ecosystem. All right, let's go ahead and dive into his chats real quick. So I just put them all together to make it easier to read. We already covered this one. So he said next Tuesday, they are thinking about next Tuesday doing the AMA or going live and doing a bunch of interviews and AMAs up to the launch point. So that's really smart on his behalf. The Piggy Bank, the animal farm, has been paused for literally a month now. So there's been nothing but downward sell pressure, as we've seen. So therefore, we're looking at, where is it? A lot of negative sell pressure and just not a very good looking chart for the past month. So it would be very smart to come in here and kind of start this AMA rally all over again. Let's see, we're looking at March. It will be around March next week. So like 17th, something like that. So yeah, right after this, ironically, we'll be looking at a month from this last rally that he had, which happened with, I forgot the YouTuber's name now, just missing that. But we know this was from the Pancake Swap launch, or Pancake Swap Twitter, and the YouTuber that did some content, and then people jumped in. So what does that mean? Well, if he decides to now do a 1 week announcements or AMAs, we can see what it did here, and this is exactly what it did back over, Jesus, it's such a long time frame. I think I got this set to 4 hour. That's why. Jesus Christ. Let's go out to 1 day. When he was doing his AMA tour early last year, it did the same thing. So, where are we at? Here we go. So this was during the AMA tours that he was doing. He was doing like AMAs every day, and the price pumped. And then again, we have this last one down here where he did an AMA. That wasn't an AMA, that was just a YouTuber covering it. But the point being, we know when Forex speaks, it's bullish. So the point that he has decided to wait 1 week to do some AMAs and get some more hype back on it is really, really good news. And then he said they'll be doing a white paper for the lottery to explain how it's going to go. So right now we're all speculating. That's what I just did. Told you guys about what I think he'll be doing with it, but we'll find out. And then someone asked about, hey, can you provide money or bonus to people that have been waiting for this 1 month? And he's like, try not to be an idiot. Value cannot be created out of thin air. If I just give everyone who is existing in the system 15% more, for example, it will be exactly the same as giving every user 15% less. This is true because the value is locked within the system. So if you just make something, add more to it when nothing else comes from external, then it just inflates the actual token price. Just like the current USD. We just make more money out of thin air. You have to pay that back somehow. So he said the point of the bonus, the 15% bonus for new capital coming in the first 48 hours is to put extra fuel on the fire. So this is really, really smart because again, he's going to be doing the AMAs and letting people know that the Piggy Bank and the animal farm is on pause, and there will be a 15% bonus, not just for existing people, but anyone that jumps in that may not have heard about it, that covers it or gets wind of it from a YouTuber or something like that, they'll be getting this. So there should be a lot of new capital being injected. So that is bullish for the animal farm itself. And we know that he's been working hard. It's been a month that it's paused. So this should be really, really good for everyone involved. And then he also reiterated about how 98% of the users will have more capital than they started with due to the bots and stuff like that, redistributing that amount. So that is really, really, really good news. I still suspect there will be an initial sell-off from people who've had their capital locked up and maybe they're not willing to be as at risk because of this. You know, I've actually listened to some of the other YouTubers talk about some stuff like this that, you know, it's DeFi and this shouldn't be able to happen and yada, yada, yada. Then you've seen, which I'll cover later, the stuff from other contracts that have been exploited. So guarantee there will be some people that are going to be a lot more risk averse. They're going to be like, I can't afford to have this much of my capital locked up in this project. So there will be some sell-offs for sure. So we'll probably see the token price up and down, then it'll stabilize, and this will be bullish for Drip and the animal farm long term, but expect some guaranteed volatility. I personally believe the volatility will come from only the pig and dog tokens and people pulling their non-native assets out of the animal farm. So like right now I got some ETH staked, I got some Bitcoin staked, I even got cake staked. People will pull that out if they haven't already because they did not have access to that for 30 days. Technically, you could have gone on the back end and pulled it out, but that will give a lot of people some pause, and it's just going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. There's nothing you can do about that. I left mine in, so, you know, it is what it is. All right, he said, I'll be doing some interviews and AMAs in the next few days, and I'm sure we will get to all the questions. I've most likely answered them. I can check out previous interviews. Can really talk about exactly how all this is going down. And then he said, let me schedule an interview with Bartertown right now. So we can expect, Bartertown to probably be the first one. I'm hoping he gets on some other channels and gets some other visibility besides the same ones, because we do know that some of the YouTubers are more biased than others. So it'd be nice to have some other AMAs from other people, even some non-drip YouTubers, some people that are just DeFi in general that have a large following. Like, that'd be great. Let's see. This is where he's talking about the people with non-native. So like if you have ETH staked or cake or Bitcoin staked, he said if you left that in, the animal farm has been generating value from cake. Remember, it does rehypothecation. It takes any of the assets. That's what's so bullish about the animal farm, is that when you stake other non-native tokens, native meaning it's only the dogs, pigs, and BUSD. Those are the tokens that are native to the farm or native to the Forex ecosystem. But when you stake non-native ones, such as DAI, BUSD, BTCB, ETH, all these are non-native, right? These generate, so what they're being done with them, you put them in there, and then they're taking them on the back end to PancakeSwap, the largest DEX on Binance Smart Chain. And they're actually generating cake. So they're getting rewards off of you. So in addition, they charge you a deposit fee, and then they're paying you out in their native token. So this adds liquidity to the farm because they're not actually losing anything, because remember, the dog and pigs tokens are in this, what did he call it? Let me get the exact word about how it's this dynamic emissions rate. So it goes up and down based on how the market conditions are. So, but these tokens in and of itself are created, so to speak. So you're getting paid in the native staking token, which inherently has only value that the community dictates. Whereas, which is the same for PancakeSwap, but PancakeSwap's been around a lot longer is the point that I'm getting at. So Cake would have a lot more use case and sustainability than the farm currently that we know of for pigs and dogs. But since you are putting in these other non-native assets and generating, like I said, cake on the back end, that does add liquidity for the farm, and then can help it grow and be a much more sustainable system. So that again is bullish for the animal farm long term. Let me go back to chat. So the farm is paused, but still earning cake on the back end. And then somebody asks that about dogs, and he's like, no, non-native. So I just explained what non-native was. This was one we already covered. He talked about the Piggy Bank migration. He didn't want to waste time doing an interview promoting a platform that wasn't live. Now that we are essentially done with the migration work, there is so much to do, so much to build. We're going to launch a new UI for Drip. The lottery project, we have raises in the DAO in preparation. There's so much I want to do. So this last part that he mentions here, we can assume this is going to come after the Piggy Bank is completely done, and maybe a week or two or a month or so after that's completely done and working well, we should start to see again a lot of push for Drip in the lottery project. I'm still believing that he's trying to get this done and launched by the anniversary. That to me would just be a smart marketing move, but I'm not in Forex's head. I have no idea, but I believe that's actually when the UI will come online and the lottery project as well. We've seen the lottery. It looks like it's actually done. It was something that he was starting before the Piggy Bank version 2, but now that he's had this 1 month, so he wasn't just working on the migration. They still had, remember, they have other devs, and they're working on that as well. So I personally believe that that will come into play at the end of April. He said, I'm going to ramp up interviews and AMAs and stuff too. So that's, again, back to that chart I showed you guys, that that was how the complete run-up in the end of December, early Jan, took off, was because Forex was every day doing an AMA. Like they were coming out, and these are 2.5 hour AMAs. And every time he talks, it's bullish for the ecosystem. People, drink the Kool-Aid, join the cult, and they're like, let's go. And more people ape in. It's just easier to get more people to buy in because they see something being done. People are talking about it. It's generating hype. It's trending, all that stuff. So this is the one I covered already about the Drip, the scratch tickets. But this part right here should be reiterated. A percent of all funds used to buy the tickets go back to buying Drip dogs and pigs. He already mentioned in another message that this would be used to burn dogs and pigs, making them further deflationary. We don't know how much of that, but that just means that these 1 million dog, pigs, and Drip tokens become more and more deflationary as time goes on. So that helps stabilize the price, or actually make the price go up, but stabilize the ecosystem as a whole, because there's going to be less and less of them in supply. Let's see here. Oh, that was the last one. All right. So that is it. We talked about the VRF. We talked about this. So now we can move on to what I was covering earlier regarding Drip. So the Drip price on the native DEX has bounced multiple times now. It doesn't go out that far to show you, but it bounced earlier off of the 29, where is it? Down here? $29 again. So this is literally the fourth time I remember in the last 5 days where it's gone below 30 and then been eaten up immediately. And what that tells me is that I believe there is a lot of resistance in the low 30s or 20s. But there's a lot of us who did the math on what we think the actual low point of Drip is based on the retracement. But that's just using some TA to determine that. But if whales and people sitting on the sideline just decide that at that stage they want to buy up more Drip at that price because it's a super attractive price, well, then that means it'll never go there. Like, there's nothing to stop it or nothing to allow it to go below that price. So you can't see it on here, but because it's actually happening, that's again another good indication. It's not happening externally. So this is all internal. I'm going to call it manipulation, but I mean that in a positive way. Internal manipulation. Every time it bounces on the native DEX, the internal DEX that only we see as drippers or people coming to the website, every time it gets down to the 30s, the low 30s, or touches 29, someone is making a purchase, something, and enough to drive it back up over 35 or over the low 30s, like 33, and then it starts to go off again because of the sells that are happening. or the claims. We don't know if they're actually selling, but they could just be claiming on this DEX. Could just be claiming and putting it in their wallet, and they're waiting for it to go up, and then they might sell. But this just lets you know that there's a lot of resistance at that $29 level. We can't see it, or I would just call it the low 30s. We can't see it here because it doesn't show every single one, because again, this is happening on the external. But if you've been following the drip price for the last week or so, you would have seen it as well. And I've covered it on my channel more than once. And I actually bought some. I got some at 29.76, I think 29.88 or somewhere in there, which is pretty cool. So that just tells me again that there is a lot of support within the community. People believe in the project. They're buying it up, be it whales or be it people sitting on the sidelines that just have a little bit of capital. It's happened more than once. And I believe I've counted at least 4 in the last week that it's dropped below this price and been immediately gone back up. So long term, to me, that just shows you the faith in the drip price. And I personally believe you will never see it below the 30s. I'll go mid 20s. You'll never see it below the mid 20s ever again, because like I just mentioned with the lottery, with the animal farm coming unpaused, there's just no way that the price of drip will continue to drop in the future. It's only going to go up. Burning tokens, things of that nature is going to make it way more bullish. All right, and lastly, we covered this one in the other video, but the issue with Splassive, I'm on the wrong network, but there was an exploit in the contract. There was an actual, I don't have it here. Let me pull it up. Let me pause this real quick. So as I was saying, there was actually a tweet from the Splassive developer or whoever controls the page. It's here on their Twitter account. But basically it said that there was an exploit. There was a bug. And they knew about the bug. And even Forex told them about it, or they had a talk with it. Said will be relaunched. Where is it? Obviously, after we made aware this pause. Let's see. Caught. While everyone knows by now there was a bug in the TAP contract that affected people to be able to manipulate airdrops. It was brought up by the drip dev after we launched, but after speaking with him and our team, we didn't think it would apply to us because we changed tokenomics and parts of the contract, and we paid for a full audit by rug-free coins. So this just goes to show that, yeah, the drip contract that we are currently using is actually private. It's not public. There was the old contract that a lot of these drip forks copied, and this is the exploit. And if you look at this, he said airdrops. This is the exact same thing that happened with the My Diamond team. There was an airdrop exploit. So I personally believe any of these forks will be experiencing the same problem. Why? Because they didn't innovate and they just copied, one, the old code that had issues, and two, they're just copying something that's not broken and not innovating on it. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, but they gave a lot of solutions of what they plan to do. But essentially, someone drained the liquidity like super quick, and there's like 1 million left, and they're talking about how they're going to rebound and what they're going to do and yada yada yada, how they're going to fix it. But my point I'm getting at is, if you get into a drip fork, you can almost rest assured that this exploit is going to be there. Maybe now that you've had My Diamond team and Splassive and have their issues, maybe future drip forks will understand what this exploit was and fix them, and they'll mention that when they do a new fork. But what I wanted to cover is some of the forks, like Golden Goose. I wouldn't touch it. Splassive, it's already proved itself. Piston token had a rocky start. There was some issues at the launch. I don't remember what it was because I'm not in it, but still not getting in it. And My Diamond team version 2 is online, but still wouldn't touch that one. So anytime you just take something and fork it and clone it without innovating on it, you're not adding any value. So all you're trying to do is just move around money. So personally, I would and if I were you, not financial advice, of course, or if you're looking to get into something, don't try to just jump into something because it's a fork and you're hoping to get first. You will get wrecked, in my personal opinion. And I have proof from my personal journey where that happened every single time. I thought I'd be first, and you're never first, in my opinion. If someone's forking it, guarantee there's a group of people that know it's being forked, and they are technically first. Even if you jump into the Discord and you're like, oh, I got this role and I'm gonna be on the whitelist, or I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. I don't believe it. I personally think you're just doomed. So it's better to put your money, in my personal opinion, into something that's already proven itself. You may be late in regards to what the potential gains could be, but if you're in it for the long term, then you'll make that money up. So Golden Goose, Splassive, Piston Token, my diamond team. I'm not gonna touch it with a 10-foot pole, but do your own research, whatever the case may be. You can read up on the actual response from them, but yeah, I don't see them coming back anytime soon. That's why I'm bullish again on Drip. There's so many use cases that he's actually building into the system. There's stuff that community members are building. All sorts of extra utility being built to ensure that it sustains itself. And that's the biggest difference. There's one article I wanted to share with you guys as I wrap this up. I know it's already been long, but it's a really, really good article. It's called Of Smoke and Mirrors Part 1, and it's basically the Hitchhiker's Guide to Ponzi-nomics and using first principles to use the game behind the smoke. So it's talking about game theory and Ponzi-nomics. Most cryptos are Ponzi-nomics. Most of them have no use case. They make something and then they build a use case on top of it afterwards. Drip was no different. It created something. There was no use case for it other than to make money off of it, and then now it has a lot of utility. But what's really important is, if you read through this article, he comes in to say, how do you get out of the Ponzi? What's the way to fix the solution? Because basically he's talking about Ponzi's are closed investment network, meaning the money that goes in, there's nothing else that can make it generate more money unless new capital gets put in. That's what a Ponzi is. So it needs new people to sustain itself. Drip's not a Ponzi. Don't get this confused. I'm not telling you that. But this article is really, really good. And it tells you in this article a couple ways how you can break that cycle. And that's what I want to cover here. So chapter 4, the possibilities for redemption. So gambling and entertainment. So one of the ways to get out of that is like the prevalence of brick and mortar and online casinos is proof of the large market of people willing to exchange monetary EV for a fun speculative experience. Make the player versus player dynamic fresh and fun enough they could become sustainable. So he's saying if it's a Ponzi and they take that money and go into gambling and entertainment, then that adds a use case. Well, what has Drip done? Drip has literally added the Bet Fury Casino and now the Drip Lottery. That is smart because it adds a use case. It adds sustainability to it. Community and memes, creating a sense of belonging people are ultimately willing to pay for. Content that is fun to consume increases the chances of this even further. NFTs are potentially the best design for this. That was literally the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That was something that had no utility, but enough of the community rallied together behind it. It made use cases out of it at the end. Same thing happened with Shiba. Same thing happened with Doge. These were literally meme coins. They told you that in the beginning when they created them. They had no utility. It was just like people aping in. And then all of a sudden it gets adopted because there's enough hype behind it. They can take that money and they can take that community and build something on top of it. So now the Bored Ape Yacht Club does have utility. They had a literal yacht party and it's offering exclusive access to different people and celebrities and all sorts of shit. I don't have this NFT, can't afford it, but there's utility on it. It's a legitimate bragging rights token with actual utility. And Drip is doing that as well. We know it has one of the stronger communities, and there is people within the community building utility for projects like Drip Games, and I saw like Drip Bingo. I saw some other games, I can't remember, but people actually building utility on it. I think Gray from Bartertown does a play to earn, like a random game of the day, and like the winner just of the week, and the winner gets paid in Drip. Like it's just giving away Drip to play games. Charity and giving. So if people believe the project is doing good for the world, they can be okay to do a money feel-good charity trade. This is quite an unproven model for a token so far, but might work at some point. So this is kind of the purpose I built this channel for. I want people to be able to make money from my information and from me as a team leader so that they will be like, holy shit, this works. And then they will be willing to donate money for charity. You have Jonathan from Drip Farm who's doing dripping for wells. You have Little Cryptita who's also here in Cambodia. She's in Siem Reap, who's actually in her village. She's built wells from her team. There's 12 Telegram groups, I believe, or more in different countries, and some of them have also partnered with charities. So even though it says this unproven, but it does make the community feel better about if they put money in it, and let's just say worst case scenario, it tanks, portion of that went to a charity, and they're like, okay, that's cool. Investment scheme, turning the pooled money into the Ponzi into a decentralized hedge fund, yield aggregator, or venture capital fund. While the business model itself has been validated, if it were the starting point, doing a pivot from a different end game and investment scheme would leave many questions needing answers for people to stay in. So this is saying another way to ensure use case and potential within the Ponzi is that you can do yield aggregation or a venture capital fund. This is what Wonderland tried to do. They were made money and were going to purchase or invest in other cryptos. Yield aggregator could be seen as the yield farm that Forex built. So that literally already has utility. So when you're holding these tokens, you're actually getting paid in a stabilized coin of BUSD. So he's creating a use case where you don't sell that token, you actually hold it and get paid out. So that's another one. And grouping attention and selling it. Time and attention are the ultimate scarce goods, and now there are thousands of protocols products competing for it simultaneously. It's increasingly possible to monetize. Have a captive audience of users. A protocol can try to get an open system revenue by packing them into a sellable product. New protocols give liquidity mining incentives to their first users in order to bootstrap activity. In this case, the incentives could go to the protocol directly. I believe Forex said he has seen some people using Drip as the means to have access to special content. He does that with the REAP DAO. You have to hold the REAP DAO token in order to hold REAP in order to be in the DAO, like special privileged content. There are discords, I think, popping up where you need to have a certain amount of tokens or purchase something to be into it or get access to whatever they're doing. So the point of this article, or of what I'm gone on a tyrant, sharing with you guys, is that Drip is checking all the boxes to actually prove that it's not a Ponzi, it's not a scheme, it's not an MLM. It's trying to become a legitimate use case store of value long term. It's got its issues, of course, and there's stuff we'd like to see cleaned up, but the fact that Forex's vision checks all these boxes, and this article was written December 30th, 2021. I don't know who this guy is, but he has a really good articles about it. Just shows that, Forex is trying to silence all the FUD and the naysayers and prove his project has some use cases to it. So that's what makes me bullish on it in the long term. Again, if you're willing to weather the storm, I think you will see some amazing dividends in the future. Not financial advice, of course. All right, guys, this one has been super long. I apologize again in advance. But if you found it valuable, of course, hit the like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See you guys.